So imagine 20 million people having the ability to live their lives slightly better. Imagine 2.5 million people being able to get to financial security for the first time. 100,000 women taking their first steps towards financial independence. By all means, this would be an extraordinary outcome. Most people will agree that it will be an extraordinary outcome. So today, for next 5 to 10, 15 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about how series of ordinary can lead to extraordinary. And I'll come back to this starting line one more time towards the end. So the story actually starts. So basically, I'll take you through maze of my own journey. And through this journey, I'm hoping that some of this will reconcile and resonate with you. And maybe in your own endeavors, you will find the extraordinary, through the course of your careers. So my earliest imagination from childhood starts when I was about 5 years old, and I remember a very stern-looking lady sitting right across from me on a table, asking me, or almost commanding me, to take out 10 marbles from a jar of marbles. So in my excitement, I took out 20, and I counted them. I thought, I did a great job. Later, I realized that I failed my first entrance examination. It was an admission to a Catholic school, an English Catholic school in Allahabad. Of course, my mom tried one more time next year, the same result. So it was, I was in second grade coming home in a rickshaw. And, this is not the auto rickshaw that we talk about, it's a rickshaw, people pull. And I had my friends who were also my schoolmates coming back with me. And there was this older guy, 5th grade, and I got my report card that day. So I showed it to him. It's a pink color leaflet. I showed it to him. I said, "Dude, can you take a look at it?" He looked at it. He said, and I asked him, there are these 2 red lines under 2 of the marks. What does this mean? He said, "Dude, you failed these 2 subjects. One was math, and the other was Hindi." So basically, now imagine the horror of a parent. Now that I'm a parent, your child failing math and language both. You're doomed. Anyways, Indian parents, thank you. So, one thing led to next, and suddenly I find myself in the 4th grade. And 4th grade, something very profound happened to me. There are series of profounds that have happened, and I'm trying to share some of those with you. But one of the profounds that happened to me in 4th grade was, my principal comes into my class and says, the 5th graders, and this was primary school, right? So 5th graders was the senior most class. 5th graders will be taken to the nearby Nehru Planetarium. It was a big deal. I was into, like most kids at that time, into Flash Gordon, Phantom, space, planets, stars, spaceships. It was a big bummer. I was told that only 3 people from the 4th grade can be taken, because the entire 5th grade is going, but we are just asking, because we have some more space, we'll take 3 people from 4th grade. And I was definitely not one of them. And that was a big bummer. I went home, and I had a conversation with my mom. So it might feel very, like a very confident guy having a chat with his mom. It was actually a very scary event for me. I told her that, can you please stop teaching me? I don't want you to help me with my homework anymore. She was shocked. She said, "Why?" She had a horrible way of teaching, by the way. But anyways, my intent really was that I thought, why can't I study on my own? And I promised her that in return, I will maintain my 35th rank out of 40 in the class. It will not fall below that 35th rank, and she agreed, and we tried this experiment. I think I did all right. I probably got 32, 33, it's fine. But it was profound. It was profound because for the first time, I took agency over my own learning. I took control over my own learning. And things went on. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th is again something very profound happened to me. It was in 11th grade, English started making sense to me, I think. And trust me, I'm just looking back on my life and I'm trying to say, what happened in 11th? In 11th, there was this time, after a very lackluster 10th exam, when you just barely made your first division, you go into this introspective mood, and or you're forced into introspective mood. So I went into this introspective mood, and I started thinking about, I have learned all my life by rote, just rutlo. And I had remembered definitions from 7th grade. Like, for example, force is a push or a pull which tends to start or stop or otherwise change the direction of the motion on which it acts. I can keep going on. I can give you mass, acceleration, Archimedes principle, all of them. I just know them by heart. But they never made any sense to me. But in 11th grade, something very fundamental happened. I understood them. Force is a push or a pull that can start something or stop something, or maybe change the direction of the motion in which it acts. It suddenly makes sense. It was almost like somebody who has not, who doesn't know that needs glasses and has poor eyesight, and suddenly gets the glasses for the first time, the vision corrected. And you see that that blob of green that you see in your front of you, which you call tree, is actually beautiful. It has leaves in it, each one different. It's an amazing experience, and people who have gone through the experience know exactly what I'm talking about. It happened to me. So anyways, that day, suddenly, education started making sense to me, and things that started happening very rapidly. And I was, by 3rd year in my school, I passed JEE, went to IIT, sorry. and by 3rd year of my engineering exam, I had been offered PhD in astrophysics by Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics. I had published a paper on astrophysics, which was accepted by monthly notices of Royal Astronomical Society. I think things happened very rapidly. Those were extraordinary outcomes for me. But I think the learning really was that education has to make sense. It became a passion, and the ordinary life led to something extraordinary. Change of scene, I joined profession. My first job was at Rourkela Steel Plant, public sector unit, Steel Authority of India Limited. For many people, it was a dream job, sarkari naukri, ab to retire honge yahin se. That was the mindset. For me, it was jarring. It was jarring because as soon as I entered my profession, my first few months, I was ragged. I was like dragged thoroughly at work. We believe that ragging only happens in school and colleges. Trust me, it happens in your profession too. And so the nature of ragging was such. I remember, so I am barely 21 years old, and I have 80 people who report to me. I am a mechanical engineer, and I am responsible for the maintenance of the steel plant, at least the shop that I was working in. And during my these 80 people, many of them had worked in Rourkela Steel Plant for more than my age. So anyway, so they were there, they were entrenched, and there was the one time I remember, there was this bucket elevator that broke down. So I called my chargeman and said, Swami Babu, 42A bucket elevator जो है टूट गया है, can you please come? बोला, sir कितने का पाना लेकर आऊँ? I said, मतलब, what spanner should I get? What size spanner should I get? I said, what size spanner? I have no idea what you're talking about. He said, sir, bolt कौन से size का है? I had no idea. In the 4 years of mechanical engineering, I don't think I was ever told how to figure out the size of a bolt, and then from the size of a bolt, figure out the size of the spanner that is needed. But anyways, I went home that night thoroughly embarrassed, also realizing that if I have to lead people, I need to know my shit. And I went home with a bunch of bolts of different sizes from the storeroom, went home, put them under a sheet cover so I can't see them, and through my hands, just by touching them, learned how to tell a size of a bolt but just by feeling it. That was profound. But then, few days later, or maybe a few months later, I don't remember, we were working on this very expensive German hydraulic press, and it broke down. It broke because of a mistake. I didn't follow the standard operating practices, and it was very expensive. I mean, the replacement part was 2 lakh rupees. 2 lakh rupees at that time was very, very large sum of money. Even today it is. And I was shit scared. I was about a year old into steel plant. I went to my boss. I told him, sir, broke the machine. I'm very sorry. He said, Sethi, baitho. So I sat down. He said, don't break this machine the same way next time. That was profound for me. It changed many things. So for a very long time, I think it became a mantra for me that mistakes are only mistakes when they're repeated. If they're not, they're learning experience. And that was profound. Anyways, life went on. I became a father, a bungling parent, screwing up things here and there all the time. And I remember I went through a bunch of startups, companies that had like money left for only 2 weeks. I joined them. It was crazy. It was exciting. I was in the US for about 15 years. And then suddenly, there was this strong desire to come back to India and run a marketplace. I tried in 2009. I have 2 beautiful girls, a beautiful wife. And first time we said, how can we do this? We've been living there for 15 years. How do we come back? It's a big change. What if we don't like it? What if the company doesn't work? There were so many ifs that we never did it. So 2009 never happened. 2011, situation is exactly the same. The mindset changed. And what changed is what I want to share with you, is that the mindset changed that many, many years ago, I went to college for 4 years. I paid them money to educate me, and I got a degree. In a similar manner, I will go to India for 4 years, start something of my own, pay myself the money, and I was checking with some of you guys, you pay 18 lakhs to do your masters here, you probably pay about 200,000 to 300,000 rupees, dollars in the US to do masters. So my masters had to happen in India, 4 years, pay yourself. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, you still have a degree from real world. And I think from that day, I could differentiate between danger and fear. Danger was real. You had to do something about it. Fear was artificial. It was a story that your mind was telling you. Long story short, we started ShopClues, and today we try to enable 20 million people to make their lives slightly better, 2.5 million people an opportunity to learn a livelihood, and 100,000 women to take their first steps towards financial security. Thank you.